Hey, what's going on, guys? I am here with Mike Liberto, and we're going to be talking about some paleo, some how to lose fat. And so, Mike, how you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm doing great as well. So, tell me a little bit about yourself so that the viewers get to know you a little bit, Mike.
Oh, outstanding. Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on your podcast. It's a pretty rare opportunity, and I'm very appreciative. But my name is Mike, also known as Cash with a K on MOG Nation, which is a community of gamers. Um, and basically, I have had a lot of run-ins with um, just not being very healthy, not feeling very good over the years. My body just wasn't feeling the way it should, and by trade, I'm a fire captain, and so I do have a responsibility to have a good, healthy lifestyle. And about the time my daughter was born, I guess we're looking about 2004, I had a physical. And during that physical, the doctor told me that, hey, your cholesterol's high. And my cholesterol was up around 240. And at the time, I was weighing in at about 220. And it really scared me. It put quite the scare into me just about, having high cholesterol and not being around for my daughter. And I decided to make a huge life change. So I decided to completely change the way that I eat. I decided to completely change the way that I kept up my physical fitness. And, I'm proud to say, just by making some changes that I'm sure we're going to be talking about, I have gone from a weight of about 220. I'm down right now to a very lean 190, 195. And my cholesterol has been in the 160s for, good 7, 8 years now. So, it basically became a lifestyle for me, and making those changes did require a little bit of a scare on my part. But right now, at age 37, I feel stronger, more fit, and healthier than I ever have in my life. So I'm very happy to talk about it and share with other folks.
That's fantastic. And just to give a little more background on Mike, you played Star Wars: The Old Republic for a while, and that's how your MOG Nation got started, right? And MOG Nation, we were talking a little earlier, is a basically a community for older, more mature individuals to get together and play all these games, right?
Absolutely. I really got involved into the pre-launch community with Star Wars: The Old Republic, and I'm a giant Star Wars fan, so I followed that game religiously from the time it was introduced, really, to the internet. And we created the Old Republic Dads, which was game specific to Star Wars: The Old Republic, but it actually still exists, and it's thriving still. But the Old Republic Dads was a guild for hardworking parents, working professionals, folks that didn't really have the time to commit to games and didn't want to have the guilt of not being able to show up on raids and so on and so forth. So we created this community where you can come as you will. And once folks started cycling out of Star Wars: The Old Republic and into other games, we started realizing that we did not want to be away from the core group of friends that we had created over those couple of years. So we ended up creating, along with some other podcasting communities, Old Republic Radio. Um, with the podcasters over there, we decided to create a gaming community which had a multi-game focus. So we created the MOG Nation, and it's massively online games um, nation. And basically, we are a multi-gaming community for hardworking parents, professionals, people who don't have the time to play, and people who want to bounce games. If you want to go play this game, go play it. If you want to go play this game, don't have the guilt of having to leave your guild, say goodbye, get back on the internet, try to find another guild, try and integrate into another community. You don't have to do that anymore. That's what MOG Nation is all about. And we since have also launched several podcasts on our sites, and you can find us at mog-nation.com. We're on
I,
Engine.
I really highly recommend going over to it. I've taken a look at it, and it's a really professionally well done. And it's because I had tried to run like a healthy gamer community earlier, but between all of my different responsibilities, I just could not devote the time to make it successful. And I think MOG Nation, because there were a lot of people interested in having a community of, you know, mature, smart players who weren't necessarily hardcore, who were easy to get along with, who had real lives like them, and they were interested in that healthy gamer community. But I just, like I said, I didn't have the time to keep it going strong like I needed to. So I really think MOG Nation is a really great option. I'm going to go over to the forums and check it out and start posting on there. So I really recommend if you guys, if that idea resonates with you, to go over and check that out. So let's get right on into paleo. Tell me, Mike, like what you posted a really cool picture on the Facebook a few days ago. Tell me about that meal. What was that meal?
I'm not exactly sure which one it is, and the only reason being is because I post a lot of
It
meals.
was
Which one?
it
Which one
was
was
the
it?
grass-fed steak with the like the paleo dressing and I don't know, it looked like sweet potato fries or something on the side.
Oh
It looked
yeah.
really good. I'll put a
Oh
picture up
yes.
here for you guys.
Yeah, that is that's one of my signature meals that I make at the firehouse. I work with a couple of other very healthy folks, and that's one of the signature meals that we'll make. And it's basically it's a kale salad with grilled vegetables, and then we top it with some grilled steak, which is usually grass fed. We like to go very organic and grass fed, so we're keeping the all the bad hormones and additives out of our meats. And then we top that off with what I like to call my paleo or good fat dressing, which basically is it's roasted peppers, it's olive oil, avocado, garlic. I like stuff really spicy, so I usually put either a habanero or a couple of fresh
Ooh,
jalapenos in
that
there.
sounds good.
Yeah, and then a handful of nuts, and basically you just blend it all up, and a little bit of salt to taste, and you get your dose of good fats for your meal.
I'm going to do that tonight. I have some pork chops that I'm going to cut up and fry those like a little bit of a stir fry type deal. And I have this bag of what is it? It's like cabbage, some sort of cabbage type salad. I think I'll put the pork chops on top of there, sliced up along with that paleo dressing. I have some avocados. I think I'll put some fresh onion in there, maybe change it up a little bit, and some sriracha sauce, and maybe a little bit of coconut oil as well, just to add a little bit of extra fat, because I'm trying to get some good calories in right now. And I mean that idea, I saw that picture and it blew my mind.
Yeah, those are, and with me too is I'm all about presentation. That's just it's kind of ingrained into me. So it's especially with the firehouse lifestyle. You always got to try and put food on the table that really looks palatable and people want to see. So that's really where I started taking a picture of my meals. Another way was just to remind myself of what I can make. So I probably have a good 100 photos of different meals that I've either prepared or had prepared for me at the firehouse, so I can remember those particular meals and I can make them and I constantly keep a different variety going too. Because
Wow.
that is one thing that's been very difficult when you're on a certain type of a diet. It gets kind of tough. You end up sometimes eating the same thing over and over again, and I really like to mix it up because I think one night if you have one type of vegetable and one type of meat, the next night you should have a different type of meat with a different type of vegetable, just so you're getting different nutrients and you're always switching it up for your body so that you're not only getting the right kind of nutrients, but you're getting a good variety too.
Right, I agree. And I guess let's interject real quick and talk about the basic premise of paleo if someone's unfamiliar with it. I've been reading a few books. I read the Paleo Solution,
Great.
and it was a good book, but I didn't like his writing style. It was he used the word buttercup like 17 different times in the book, and that got to be really annoying. But it was good information. And now I'm reading what is it? The Primal Blueprint by Mark Sisson. He's the guy that writes marksdailyapple.com, and that's a really good site on just primal eating and paleo eating. But so, from what I've gathered, the basic premise of paleo is that we evolved as humans as hunter gatherers, and we've only had agriculture for the last 10,000 years. And before that, we didn't have access to all of these processed grains that we have now. So agriculture introduced the idea of cultivating grains, and so the grains we turn into things like pasta and bread and flour, and The reason grains are bad, from what I've been reading, is that grains have evolved with a defense mechanism that actually irritates our gut. And that's one of the reasons why a lot of people are coming up with celiac disease right now, is they can't tolerate that gluten in the grain. And from the books, it seems like even if you don't have celiac disease, most people still do not tolerate grain as well as the foods that we evolved eating for hundreds of thousands of years, like the vegetables and the meats and the nuts and the eggs. And so that's the whole idea behind paleo eating, is that we're going back to our ancestral roots and eating foods that our bodies were evolved to eat, so that we can uh, be healthier. I lost my train of thought. What do you have to add to that, Mike?
Oh, I think you nailed it. That was an awesome representation of exactly what paleo is, and the biggest thing with paleo is cutting out that grain. And you're absolutely right. Genetically, the way that these grains are grown, they're grown to be um, a deterrent to predators that may eat them. So those same things that are within and it's basically it's got phytic acid, saponins in it, it's got lectins in it, and those particular things are incredibly difficult to digest. Not only the fact that it can cause hyperglycemia, which will cause you to have that insulin spike. So, just imagine when you go to Subway for lunch, and I'm certainly not taking anything away from Subway at all because they actually make some pretty healthy stuff there. But if you have just that big bun, you get that big 12-inch or 6-inch bun, and you put that in your mouth about 2 o'clock or so. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong. You end up getting very tired, and you're looking for that 5 hour energy or whatever you need. Well, the reason for that is because you're going, your insulin is spiking at that particular time, and it causes you to have that crash. Well, by eliminating that grain from your diet, you can quickly see how your energy level will change. And one of the biggest problems that I, in particular, have with what our own government recommends that we have. If you look at the food pyramid now, they still recommend that the basis of your intake, according to that food pyramid, is grains.
Right.
And now I certainly don't want to turn this into a conspiracy theorist topic or a conspiracy theorist conversation, but grains happen to be one of our leading exports. It happens to be one of the driving factors behind our industry in America. And of course, they want to make that money. They want to sell, the corns, all that stuff that including grains, pastas, all the stuff that we produce. They want to sell it. I totally understand that. But I just think that they have more interest in making money and sustaining the economy than they do with your health. And, I think a lot of folks are getting educated to that fact now, in that cutting out of grains and the glutens and the processing that goes behind that thought process is healthier for you. It's better for you. And there are folks out there that have ailments, abdominal type of ailments, where when they just cut out grains alone, makes a world of difference for them.
Right.
So,
Well, let me add right now, the the study that uh, was used to kind of get our food pyramid, the one we have now in place, was a 7 country study. And if you guys want to Google that later, there basically what this guy did was he studied all these different countries, and he, according to his 7 country study, um, that heart disease was linked to saturated fat, and a high grain diet would help that supposedly. But the criticism for the 7 country study is that he threw out the results of 22 other countries that completely disproved his theory. Like, what is like Mediterranean countries that eat high saturated fat, and they don't have, high rates of cardiovascular disease. France, they also have high intakes of saturated fat, and they also don't have cardiovascular disease. So what I'm trying to say is that a lot of the things that are the common wisdom for what's good for us are based on flawed science when you actually look at the studies. And is this, don't take my word for it. Go Google that and do some research on it. Um, and yeah, like what you were saying, I've been 23 days completely paleo right now. So that means no, I haven't had any bread, no pasta, no flour, no rice, uh, just completely paleo. And I've been feeling fantastic. I've been getting up at 5 in the morning. I've been able to put in about 4 hours of work on the Healthy Gamer website. Then I go in and I have a tax accounting job. Then I go in and I do that. And then I come home, I work out, and then I'm able to work some more. And I don't have that crash of energy. I used to, um, like over the winter, I noticed I wasn't eating paleo at all. I was having lots of grains, and I had terrible depression. I just didn't have energy, and I had a lot of mind fog where I would just all I wanted to do was sit in bed and watch TV or watch a movie. And since going completely paleo, I that is completely gone. As soon as I get home, I'm productive, and that for me has been the biggest benefit of cutting out these grains.
If you could see the smile on my face right now, it would make you laugh. That I love to watch folks that can seriously take the turn and educate themselves on it and then give it a shot. And that's the biggest thing. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong. The biggest thing is actually getting in there and doing it. But the second you do and you make that commitment, you notice a difference immediately. And it brings a smile to my face because it's very difficult to do to present this to somebody because grains are so, excuse the pun, they are so ingrained in us. I mean,
Exactly.
is it not? It is so ingrained in us. It is in everything. Gluten is in everything that you'll buy. And I actually heard something that helped me out when I started my paleo lifestyle. I heard that when you go shopping, stick to the outsides of the store. Because if you start to integrate into the middle of the store, everything in the center of the store that's on the shelves that is not the fresh fare is highly processed. There's a lot of preservative, probably some form of gluten in it. Stuff that's in a jar, and it really makes a lot of sense. If you are able to stick to the outside of the store where you have your meat section, your fruits and vegetables, and of course, sometimes on the outside is the bakery too. So you got to avoid the bakery. But um, if you trade out getting your complex carbohydrates, trade out getting them from grains to getting them from fruits and vegetables. That's all really that paleo is doing is it is eliminating that grain factor on your plate. So if you take your plate and you imagine your plate, just cut it into quarters. One quarter of that is lean meats. One half of that is fruits and vegetables, mostly vegetables. So you're getting all of your complex carbohydrates from fruits and vegetables, and then the last quarter of your plate is things like the fats we talked about. So and fats are so important, especially the saturated fats like you were just talking about, Jack. It's incredibly important to be able to get your saturated fats, uh, especially if you're active in any way. If you're an athlete, if you train regularly, then getting those saturated fats in is incredibly important for your cellular metabolism and for keeping the homeostasis within your bloodstream. But those saturated fats include olive oils, big heaping handful of almonds or nuts or almond butter or ghee or grass-fed cow butter. Yes, I said grass-fed cow butter. Most people are like, really? Grass-fed cow butter, but it's the purest form of animal fat that you can get, and that's where you should be getting a lot of these fats is from animal fat sources. And some of these concepts just blow people away when they first hear them. I can't believe that. That's crazy. I will actually take a tablespoon of butter, of a grass-fed cow butter, and I blend it into my coffee in the morning. It probably sounds disgusting, but it is no different than putting in a tablespoon of half and half or a tablespoon of heavy cream or anything else like that, except it's not processed.
And I bet that gives you a really nice boost of energy in the morning.
Yes, especially before I'm a early morning workout guy. So as soon as I get up in the morning, I get my stuff on, I get ready to go to CrossFit, I get my coffee on board, and that's my breakfast. And that I usually have, a cup, 2 cups of coffee with a good heaping tablespoon of actually I probably call it a heaping teaspoon of grass-fed cow butter. I use the Kerrygold brand and I blend it right into my coffee, and it comes out creamy. And I mean, you look at any of the places that make you like a real nice barista made coffee. That's how it looks when it comes out of the blender. It's frothy, it tastes amazing, and that will fuel me for a couple of hours, while I get my workout done. And then when I get home, I can load up the proteins or whatever else. But some of the concepts really would blow you away, but it's just educating yourself and reading a little bit about it and truly seeing what it will do for you, trying it out. Don't be afraid to try it.
I really do agree because on the surface, it goes completely against conventional wisdom because you're advocating eating lots of fats, you're advocating cutting out the whole grains and grains at all, and you're advocating well, I guess those are the two things you're mainly advocating, which the conventional wisdom says you don't. The conventional wisdom says fat is bad. It says fat makes you fat. It says fat raises your cholesterol. And the conventional wisdom says if you want to be healthy, eat lots of whole grains. And they keep pushing this whole grain thing. But from what I've read, whole grains really don't, they digest almost as quickly as table sugar and they dump almost as much insulin, or I'm sorry, glucose in your body, causing a high insulin response almost as much as sugar.
Absolutely, absolutely. And what you're basically doing is you're taking a carb that is complex and they're adding all kinds of sugars to it. So you're really getting a mixture of a simple and a complex carb that is extremely difficult for your insides to process. Whereas you can get the same amount of calcium rich, the same amount of complex carbohydrate to fuel your body and to fuel the homeostasis and that cellular metabolism, and also provide tons and tons of vitamins and minerals. You can get all the same in one shot by having that same amount in the form of fruits and vegetables.
Absolutely. And I think the biggest telling factor is that just try it. One day, get 100 grams of carbs from pasta. The next day, get 100 grams of carbs from sweet potato. What you're going to notice is when you eat the pasta, you're going to feel tired afterwards. You're going to want to take a nap. You're going to have brain fog. You're going to be hungry about 2 hours later because your insulin has spiked and crashed. And when you eat the sweet potatoes, you're going to feel energized after a meal. And that's what I keep telling people. Like, it is not normal to be tired and want to go to sleep after you eat. That is not right. You're supposed to be energized. Food is supposed to give you energy. It's not supposed to make you want to take a nap.
I agree with that 100%. And here's the other spin too. For I know probably most of you listening to this are gamers just like myself. You truly want a way to fuel a gaming frenzy, eat right. If you eat right and you're not eating those foods that are going to spike your insulin, I guarantee you are going to game longer and more energetic. And when you're in the middle of that rate at those critical moments, your brain is going to be firing on all cylinders. Trust me.
That is so true. If you can cut out those chips and cookies, almonds. If you want a snack, eat almonds. They're delicious and they're so easy, and they are a combination of really high quality fats, proteins. They have fiber. They have low amount of carbs. They're not going to spike your insulin, and I just love almonds.
Yeah, and it's funny too. One of my very favorite things is usually before the launch of a large game or some of the more popular MMOs that come out. Somewhere in our community, there's a thread that pops up about how are you preparing for launch day, or what foods are you getting for launch, to fuel your gaming frenzy. And I am always laugh because I'm one of the very few that will post in there and will post things like dried fruits, prepared vegetable jerkies or fresh meat jerkies and almonds and all that. And I'll post all that stuff, and I won't post anything about energy drinks, nothing,
Right.
nothing about any of those cruddy foods. and I'll usually take a few flames, and then after I take those folks flaming me, there'll be people PMing me. Hey, what else are you getting?
Right. No, I made a video about that before Guild Wars 2 launch. I bought it like a whole bunch of avocados and bananas, and I cooked a like a 6 pound pork roast in the oven, and it was I was prepared. It was
And
good
you
to
and you
go.
hit 80 in a week.
Yeah, yeah, it was awesome. You know what we should do? We should do some sort of like streaming marathon over a weekend or something, and show the healthy foods we eat and show how energetic we are. Because a lot of those streamers, when they stream for 8 to 12 hours, they're just dead on there. You see them drinking their energy drink, they have no energy and no vitality, and that is, I, I keep coming back to it, but that's not how human beings are meant to live. You
That's
shouldn't
right.
you shouldn't have to constantly boost your energy through artificial means of caffeine and sugar. I mean, that's from my own experience over these last few weeks. Um, it's been really eye opening to see how amazing your performance can be when you just let your body operate as it's supposed to operate.
Yes, I totally agree, and it's actually funny that you mentioned the live streaming with uh with a gaming marathon because last year I did the oh man, now it's blanking me. It's the gaming marathon where you're gaming for children for the children's
Oh, okay. The
hospitals.
the packs.
Yes, I believe it is in part with PAX, but it was a gaming marathon where your flat donations and your pledges go straight to the children's hospitals. And I specifically prepared a couple days ahead of time with good, healthy foods because I wanted to make it the entire 24 hours. And I am a man who loves his sleep. So I usually can't game for long periods of time like I used to be able to, especially now with, it's with job responsibility and a child and a marriage, it's very difficult to do.
Right.
But I told my wife, I go, hey, I'm going to give it a shot. I'm going to really try and do this. So I made all paleo, all healthy, all natural snacks and foods and meals, and I made it. I made the entire 24 hours. Now, granted, I was tired, and yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I crushed a few Red Bulls during those last few hours, but I probably would never have been able to make that if I was powering down bread, grains, pasta. It would have put me down quickly. So, you may think it sounds corny, but I truly think that, just the healthy lifestyle and and having that healthy food on hand fueled that.
I am totally with you there. We should look into that again this year. That would be fun.
Yes, it would
That
be
would be
awesome.
fun.
It would be awesome.
Let's talk about. Well, I'm going to share one of my favorite, like really quick recipes that I like to do, and that gives you a ton of energy. Is I like to just put 3 or 4 eggs. Of course, you want to get free range eggs, cage free rather, eggs because they have higher levels of omega 3 fatty acids in them. And I take about 3 or 4 of those and I just boil them. So I'll be playing a game. The important thing is to not forget that you're boiling eggs. I've turned a pot black doing that, and the eggs exploded, and it was awful. But so I just set them to boil. Boil for 20 minutes, and you have hard boiled eggs. And then I'll take an avocado and I'll just scoop it out, and I have a little bit of Heinz 57 sauce, and I dip the eggs and the avocado in that sauce, and actually it tastes great, and it's really quick, and it's a ton of really high quality fuel, and your body runs the best off of fat. It's amazing how your brain loves the fuel from fat, and it just makes me feel completely revved up, the same as if I just taken drank a whole bottle of Monster, but without all the negative effects of that.
Right, without the crash.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah, I agree 100%. That sounds amazing, by the way. But I definitely agree with that. Your body does feed off those fats, and you don't even need that much of whatever fat source you're having in order for your appetite to feel satiated. and that stuff will just start metabolizing correctly and making your body truly do what it's meant to do. And your body is a machine, and it really is a fat burning machine, and it's very difficult for people to understand, including myself. And I had the hardest time understanding this until I actually saw it on myself, that in order to shred fat, you have to eat fat, but you have to eat the right sources. You can't eat the fats from from processed oils and stuff like that, where your food is fried in it. You have to eat the fats from natural sources, such as, just like I was talking about, that natural, cow butter, almonds, avocados, all those good natural sources, and your body will truly start working. As you eat fat, you'll burn fat. It's the same thing with water. You have to drink a ton of water in order to shed water. And it was very difficult for myself to get my head wrapped around that until I saw the results for myself.
Absolutely. And also another thing with fat and protein is that whenever you eat, your body is releasing leptin, and leptin is a hormone that signals to your brain that you're full, and therefore you'll feel full and you'll want to stop eating. And fat, when you eat fat, fat releases the most leptin out of any of the three macros, and then protein releases more leptin than carbohydrates. Carbohydrates release the least amount of leptin, and so that is why, if you think about it, like at breakfast time, it is hard as hell to eat a whole bunch of bacon or sausage. Even though they're delicious, you eat them, you start feeling almost sick because they're so rich. But if you think you can eat pancakes all day, you can have a massive stack, and that's because of that leptin um, release in your mind. And so if your goal is to lose fat and to lose weight and to cut down on your calories, it's actually better to have a high fat, high protein meal, because that's going to make you feel more satiated. It's going to make you feel more satiated for a longer period of time as well.
Absolutely. And if you wouldn't mind, since you mentioned pancake, can I share a recipe?
Absolutely, go ahead.
Okay, okay. I'm sure a lot of the folks who are listening have heard of the movie called "I Hope They Serve Beer in Hell."
Right, yeah. Tucker
Well,
Max.
yeah, Tucker Max. That's right. It's a great book, great movie. And in the movie, they were on the road and they had to stop for something that was called a pancake witch.
Okay.
Okay, the pancake witch, I have a paleo version of the pancake witch, and it is absolutely amazing. So real quickly, I'll go through it. They have a gluten-free pancake mix that you can get. So you take that gluten-free pancake mix, you whip up some pancakes. You have a single fried egg. Usually, I usually fry in a little bit of coconut oil,
Mm.
and that fried egg, of course, would be a free range from a free range chicken. And then I have a turkey sausage patty, which you make just out of a lean turkey sausage. And then on top of that, I'll have some nitrate-free bacon. We'll cook that up. And then on top of that, you put a little bit of pure maple syrup, not the stuff that's loaded with all the hydrogens, but the stuff that has is just straight pure maple organic maple syrup, and combine it all together, and you have yourself a paleo pancake witch, and they are
Oh my
absolutely
God.
insane.
That sounds I'm gonna try that Sunday. I'm gonna try that Sunday. That sounds amazing.
Oh yeah, I'll have to forward you a picture of the last ones that we made. They were very good.
God, I am starving now. I got home from the gym and we started doing this. I haven't had time to eat my dinner yet, so you're making me hungry. Oh. But well, you know what? I think this has uh, gone on for a good amount of time. I would love to have you back and talk about. I love to talk about intermittent fasting, talk about CrossFit and circuit training, and I think there's a lot of topics we could cover.
I would love to be more than happy to come back. And like I said, this is a real treat for me too. I could talk about paleo and diet and CrossFit and training all day long.
I agree with you, and thank you so much for your time. And I want to encourage everybody to check out MOG Nation again. And if you can go to their engine site by typing MOG-Nation, so MOG-Nation.com, and then they have a more article-based site that's just mognation.com without the dash. So check those out. It really is a cool site for more mature players to connect with one another.
Yes, and thank you very much for that. I very much appreciate it. We're really kicking off, and our site and our community is really growing. I think I checked the website today, and we have just under 800 members, and just spread out between all different kinds of games, and just a great community. We're planning meetups. We're planning on. I think this year we're planning on going to Dragon Con, and just a lot of different events that we're doing, and talking amongst each other, not just on forums and stuff. But a lot of us end up just talking over the phone and stuff, and sharing life experiences. So it really is a full community, and we're always open for recruiting and bringing more people in, and we just want to grow our family.
That's great, Mike, and I've enjoyed this conversation so much. I love talking about this stuff, and I can tell you do too. So again, I really want to thank you for your time, and we're gonna do this again soon.
Thank you very much. I'm very humbled to have been on your show, and very happy to have been able to meet you.
Thank you so much for watching. Please hit subscribe if you haven't already. Take a second to hit like and share via your social media, and then check out some of these other videos here. There's a transformation, a steak dinner, and doing 102 reps of squats with 225 pounds.